except this one, this very short surah, Surah Al-Asr, لَكَفَتْهُ. This would have been enough for us. Shafi'i said, if no other surah, nothing else, none of the moral, the ethical, the social, the economic, the peacetime and wartime teachings, injunctions, exhortations, if nothing else had been revealed, just this surah, that would be enough for anyone who wants to take heed to take heed. وَالْعَصْرِ, by the testimony of time, as time is your witness. And it's an interesting thing. Why do you think God began this surah? Let's think quickly about the translation. وَالْعَصْرِ, by time. إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Surely man not as in male, but the human being, insan. Insan applies to the man and the woman, to the male and the female equally. So the human entity, lafi khusr, is surely in a state of loss, is surely in a state of regress. You're losing out. Every human being. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. And then 4 exceptions are made, or 4 conditions which collectively constitute an exception to this rule. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, except that those as are believers. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, and perform good deeds. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, and who... Tawasi is an interesting word. It's what do you do when you're about to die? You make a wasiyah, a bequest. You say, these are my parting words. I instruct you, my sons, my daughters, my loved ones, to do X, Y, and Z. Tawasul is that level of instruction. Those who give counsel of sticking to the truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ, those who give counsel of holding to the truth. وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ, and those who give counsel of patience. And I'm going to ask a question about the relationship between haqq and sabr a little later on. But before that, why do you think, we're a small group here, so we need to ask each other questions. Why do you think this surah, of all of the things that Allah, and there are many surahs that start with oaths, وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا. There are many surahs that begin with وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَى. So why does this surah begin with وَالْعَصْرِ? What's the relevance of that?
Shows the importance of time. If it's something great enough for Allah to want to swear by it, it gives it a high level of importance.
That's true, because anything that Allah swears by, but then He swears by a good few other things. Why in particular this one for this surah? Yeah. Sorry? Asr is time, and in the 24-hour cycle of time, it's a specific portion of time. It's the period. We know Asr because we praise Allah, so we know that Asr is close to the end of the day. It's that last, almost coming up to the twilight. The old man or old woman of the day. A day, every day, has a youth. It has a birth, daybreak, a newborn day. And then it has a youth, the hustle, bustle, the bright sun. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, the blazing sun and its luminous morning. So that's the splendor of the sun. Everything's bright and fresh and energized and full of life. Students, who spend, if you're at lectures, you're stuck indoors, and if you don't have lectures, you might be sleeping. May not often get to experience that. But if you live before humanity was so urbanized, people knew the value of that first part of the morning. It's the hustle and the bustle of the marketplace. It's when the farmers are out. It's when the chickens and the goats and everything's is energized, rejuvenated by that time of the morning. So there's duha, it's a time of great energy. And then there's dhuhr, or dhahira. It's when at noon, you come towards noon, it becomes so hot, people need to rest in warmer climates, and people have siestas, qaylula. And then you've just about kind of, reached your peak, the peak of the day, when suddenly the day starts to wane, and before you know it, the sun's low down, and before you know it, that great, huge ball of heat, of energy, of light, is low enough on the horizon that you can look directly at it without being dazzled by its brightness. You can look at the sun. You can't look at the sun at Dhuhr time. You can't look at the sun directly when it's high above you. But then Asr time comes and the sun has become weak. The sun has cooled. The sun has, although it's still very bright, eyes can dare to look it straight in the face. Eyes can now venture to see it head on. And so the days become old and youth become old. There's only a short amount of time left until darkness takes over. And darkness, of course, is the analogy for death. Darkness sets in. Because the exit of this world is a darkness from this world. It's a receding, a taking a final bow. It's cold in this room, isn't it? So, Asr has a relationship with that last part of the day. Anybody else? Any other ideas? Why time?
It's telling us what to do with our time.
It's telling us what to do with our time. Okay, so last clue. In particular, considering the very next verse. First verse, wal asr. Second verse, innal insana lafi khusr. Considering that, and that is, we have in where the Quran has an oath, that's called a qasam in Arabic. Are you familiar with that? If you speak Urdu, Punjabi, you know qasme, right? Qasam, qasam. لا أقسم بيوم القيامة. أقسم, قسم. وإنها لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم. And that is an oath, if only you knew, momentous. So there's a qasm, and then there's a jawab al-qasam. There's the retort to the oath. You make an oath to make a point. So the point of the oath is innal insana lafi khusr. By time. When you make that, when you say that, people are like, what? What do you want to tell us? What is so important that it needs to be emphasized by an oath? So we're waiting for the predicate of the sentence, the khabar. And the predicate is innal insana lafi khusr. Man is in a state of loss. So just keeping these two verses in mind, what's the relationship of the specific oath that's taken to the predicate?
Reminding us that as time passes that we're getting there.
That's right. It's not just saying, you see, Allah have said, in other places he says, فَوَرَبِّكَ, by your Lord, لَنَحْشُرَنَّهُمْ وَالشَّيَاطِينَ, we will bring them all together, them and the devils. He takes oaths by all sorts of things. So if Allah had simply said, by God, man is in a state of loss, that's an oath, and then there's the response to the oath. Here, by time, its significance, its relevance is, it's not just an oath, it is the proof of the next part. The proof of the statement that is to follow. Man is in a state of loss is time. So it's not just by time, by God, by this and by that. It's by the proof, by the evidence, by the testimony of time. Your own life is a witness to this. And the story of your kind, look back over history, the hundreds, the thousands of generations that have passed before you. Time got all of them in the end. The greatest of kings, the most powerful of nations, the most established of civilizations, everybody in the end fell to time. Time will get you all. So that is the oath. Wal asr. By time. Not just an oath, but also an evidence. By the proof of time. You are in a state of loss. How can you not be in a state of loss? Because you can have everything on the face of this earth, and yet, every second that passes, you're going. And so, Ali ibn Abi Talib, rahimahullah, the great companion, cousin, son-in-law, and of the Khulafa al-Rashidun, of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, world flees away from you with its back turned. Have you ever seen that when a person, a friend or somebody is running away from you and you're looking at them and you see their back and every second they're becoming smaller and smaller, they're receding into the distance. Someone who's running away from you. He's saying the dunya is like that. ارتحلت الدنيا مدبرة. Your dunya flees from you with its back turned. You're seeing its back and every second it's getting further and further away, smaller and smaller into the distance. وارتحلت الآخرة مقبلة. And your eternity, your hereafter, your tomorrow, the other world, the akhirah, is rushing towards you, muqbilatan, head on, face on. And if you look at someone who's running towards you, they're small and they're getting larger and larger and larger every second that you're watching them because they're drawing towards you. You're headed for a head-on collision. It's coming right at you. One's rushing away, receding into the distance, and the other is speeding straight towards you, head-on collision, imminent, about to happen. The world flees from you with its back turned. The akhirah rushes towards you, head-on. وَلِكُلِّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهُمَا بَنُونَ. And both of these have sons and daughters. Both of these have devotees. فَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الْآخِرَةِ. So he said, so become from the sons and daughters of the akhirah, of tomorrow. وَلَا تَكُونُوا مِنْ أَبْنَاءِ الدُّنْيَا. Not from the sons and daughters of just now. Why? فَإِنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَمَلٌ وَلَا حِسَابٌ. For today there is action and there is no reciprocation. There's no accountability. It's not like if you didn't do your fajr this morning, you opened your fridge and all the milk's gone off straight away overnight as a punishment, and you can't have your cocoa pops before coming to you. It's not like that. The milk's still good, alhamdulillah, Allah could have stopped me having breakfast, but the milk's still there, even though I forgot that obligation. It's not like if you know, every time we commit a sin, or we make a mistake, or we forget an obligation, or we transgress one of God's limits, there's immediate comeuppance. There isn't. فَإِنَّ الْيَوْمَ عَمَلٌ. Because today there is action, وَلَا حِسَابٌ. There isn't immediate accountability. وَغَدًا حِسَابٌ وَلَا عَمَلٌ. But tomorrow will be only account, only the giving of account.